Welcome students to online classes of mathematics for class 8. In this video we are going to study the chapter number 5, which is data handling of NCERT textbook, and we'll do the introduction part of this chapter. This is session number 1 for this particular chapter. Myself Deepak Gautam, TGT Mathematics in Kendriya Vidyalaya Sangathan. So let's start with today's class. The chapter number 5 of NCERT textbook, which is data handling. Okay, so let's start with its introduction part. So first term that we have here is data. So first thing that you need to know is data. Data is simply the collection of information. Data simply is the collection of information is called data, and that data can be such as numbers, words, measurements, alphabets, or observation. Okay, that data can be in the form of a number or words, measurement, alphabets, or any other type of observation. All such information is called data. Okay, so data simply is the collection of information. For example, suppose if we are to record the body weight of the student of a particular class. Okay, so let's write, for example, okay, so if a teacher asks the 10 student of a class about their body weight, okay, so that can be any number. Let's write the body weight of one student is 34, the next one weight 50, then another student whose weight is 52, then we have another one like 37, 48, 43, 36, 37, and let's say 46 and 38. So these are the body weight of the 10 student of a class. Okay, so in this case the information here is the body weight of students. What information we have collected here is body weight of 10 students. Okay, and in this case that information is in the form of numbers. Okay, so simply data is the collection of information. Okay, and that information can be in the form of number, words, measurement, alphabet, or observation. Okay, like we have this example, we have recorded the body weight of 10 students, which is written here. Okay, I hope it is clear. Now moving ahead, next we have raw data. Raw data is the data collected in unorganized form is called raw data. The data collected in unorganized form. The word raw simply means something in its natural form. Okay, raw means something in its natural form. Okay, so raw data means data when it's collected in naturally, or what we have it from the observation directly. Okay, like in this the same example above one, like we have recorded the body weight of 10 students, so that weight is 34, and then 50 we have, then 52, 37, 48, 43, 36, 37, 46, and 38. You will observe that there is no any sequence or pattern between this data. You can see the data here is increasing, then again increasing, then it's decreasing, then again increasing, decreasing, then again increase, then decrease. Okay, so there is no particular order or the sequence between the in this information or the data. So this type of data is called raw data, because data here is in unorganized form. Okay, so such type of data is called raw data. Okay, so simply data is a collection of information that can be in any type of information like number, words, measurement, or alphabet, and data when it's collected directly or written in its natural form, it's called raw data. Okay, next we have organized data. The organized data means the arrangement of data in systematic way in order to draw some meaning is called organized data. Okay, it should be organized data. Okay, that is arrangement of data in systematic way. Systematic way means we will arrange the data in some meaningful way. Okay, let's say the same information that we have here is we have the body weight of 10 student. So we'll write this information in an increasing order. Okay, so we'll start with the smallest number. The smallest number here is 34, so the first one written should be here is 34. Then we have this 37 and one more time, sorry, before 37 we have this 36, and then we have 2 times 37. Okay, so it will be 36, then 2 times 37. Okay, after 37 we have the higher number is 38. Okay, after 38 we have 43 and 46. So we have 38, 43, 46, and after that we have 48. Okay, 38, 43, 46 and 48, and our last two are 50 and 52. Last two are 50 and 52. Okay, now you will observe that the data is written in the increasing order. First we have 34, that which increased to 36, then 37, 38, then 43, 46, 48, 50 and 52. You will see that data now is arranged in increasing order. So such type of arrangement is called, now this data will be known as the organized data. So what we did here is we have organized data in the increasing order. Okay, we have organized this data in increasing order, that is starting from smallest to the highest number. Okay, this type of arrangement is called increasing order. So when we arrange data in such type of arrangement, it's called organized data. Okay, next we have the graphical representation of data. So in this chapter we will study the 4 type of graphical representation, in which the first one is pictograph, second the bar graph, third is double bar graph, and the fourth one is histogram. Okay, so we'll look at all three one by one. So first type of graphical representation is pictograph. Okay, we have this pictograph. Pictograph is the pictorial representation of data using symbol. Pictorial means we will use picture here. Pictorial representation means we'll use pictures here, or we'll use the symbols of pictures. So the pictograph is the pictorial representation of data using symbols. That means now we will represent the data with the help of picture or the symbols. Okay, for example, so this is an example from your book which gives the number of car produced by a company in this given month. First we have July, August and September. Okay, so this symbol of car, this one complete symbol of car represent 100 cars. Okay, which is written here, one symbol stand for 100 cars. You can see here in the month of July the number of car produced is 2 complete symbol of car and a half symbol of car, which means, like it's written here, one symbol of complete symbol means 100 cars. So 100 cars are produced here, 100 plus 100, and this is half, so it will be 50. So total number of car produced in the month of July is 250. Okay, this half means half of 200, oh sorry, half of 100. Okay, so total number of car produced in month of July is 250. Similarly, in the month of August we have 3 complete symbol of car, so that means the total number of car produced in the August is 300. Okay, and next for the month of September we have the complete 4 symbol of car, so that means the number of cars produced in September is 400. Okay, so this type of representation of data using picture or the symbol is called pictograph. Okay, so next type of we have bar graph. This is very important, so understand this. Representation of data or information using bar of uniform width is called bar graph. Okay, that is representation of data or information using bars of uniform width. Uniform means equal. Okay, bar of equal width is called bar graph. So what we're gonna do here is we'll represent the data in the form of bar. Bar are these are the bars. Okay, and the width of this bar should be uniform. That means the width of each bar has to be equal. That means if you measure this width, this will be equal to this one, also equal to this one, and this and this, you will find out that the width of all 5 bar is equal. Okay, whenever you represent the data using bar graph, you have to keep this in mind that the width of each bar has to be equal. Also, the gap between the bar, this gap between the bar should also be equal. Okay, this is the correct way of representing the data using bar graph. Okay, simply bar graph is representation of data or information using bars of uniform width. This is called bar graph. Okay, and you have to keep this in mind that the width of the bar and also the gap between the bar has to be equal. Okay, the spacing between the bar is uh, should be kept equal. So the height of the bar are proportional to the respective value of quantity. So whatever the value of that quantity or the observation, the height of the bar will be proportional to that. Okay, like for in this example, it gives the number of student in class 8th. Okay, in the year 2003 and 4, the number of student was 100. So we'll raise this bar till 100 mark. Okay, similarly in 2004 and 5, it's still 200. In 2005 and 6, it's 250. In 2006 and 7, it's 300, and so on for 2006 and so 7 and 8, it's raised to 350. Okay, so it says the bar height gives the quantity of each category. So this height of the bar will tell us the quantity. Like this height will represent that the number of student in this year is 2007 and 18 8 is 350. Okay, and the bars are of equal width with equal gaps in between. This point is very important. The width of the bar and the gap between the bar should be equal. Okay, so this is our bar graph. Moving ahead, we have the next type of graphical representation, which is known as double bar graph. Okay, it says it is bar graph showing two sets of data simultaneously. Simultaneously means together. Okay, so double bar graph is also bar graph. So it is bar graph. So first thing is the double bar graph is also bar graph, but the difference is it's showing two sets of data simultaneously. That means two set of data simultaneously means together. Okay, so double bar graph is it's a bar graph showing two sets of data together. Okay, or simultaneously. It is useful for comparison of data. This double bar graphical representation is very useful for when you need to compare the data. Like in this example, what we are given here is marks obtained by a student in 2 years. Okay, marks obtained by a student in 2 years, first in the 2005 and 6, and then next year 2006 and 7. Okay, so this white one represent the 2005 and 6, and this shaded one or the dark one represent 2006 and 7. So you can see in maths that student in 2005 and 6 got only 3 marks, but he worked hard, and in the next year he improved his performance, and in 2006 and 7 he got 60 marks. Okay, similarly in social science 2005 and 6 he got 50 marks, and in next year he got 55. Similarly you can check it for the other subject. Okay, so this light or the unshaded bar represent the 2005 and 6, while the shaded one represent 2006 and 7. Okay, that's how we represent the data using double bar graph. One thing that you again have to remember, that the width of each bar and the gap between the bar are equal. Okay, you have to keep this in mind, that the width of each bar and the gap between the bar has to be equal. Okay, so next one we now have, after double bar graph, we have histogram. Okay, after this double bar graph we have histogram, but in order to understand histogram you need to understand few more things. So we'll look at those first, then we'll come to the histogram. Okay, so the first thing that you need to know is frequency of data. Frequency of data means the number of times a particular quantity repeats itself in the given data is known as the frequency of the particular data. Okay, that means the number of repetition of a particular data. Okay, this simply means number of repetition of a particular data. Okay, if the certain data or a particular data repeat itself more than one time, so that will be its frequency. Okay, let's say if we have an observation, like say again this, let's take this example of the body weight. In this example you will see that the 34 comes only one time, that means the frequency of data 34 is 1. Also the 36 also occur only one time, that means the frequency of number 36 is also 1. But you will see that the 37 is appearing two times, that means the frequency of 37 here is 2. Okay, so the number of time a particular data is repeated is known as its frequency. Okay, in that example the frequency of 34 is 1 and the frequency of 36 is also 1 and the frequency of 37 is 2. Okay, that is the number of time of data or the observation repeat itself is called its frequency. Okay, so the frequency of 37 is 2, frequency of 34 is 1 and frequency of 36 also 1, and so on for the other number. Okay, if 37 is repeated 3 times or the 4 5 times, in that case its frequency will be 3 4 or 5. Okay, for example let's take another example. If we have data like this, we have number 1 2 5 7 2 7 3 5 8. Okay, in this data you will see that the frequency of 1 is 1 while the frequency of 2 is 1 and 2. Okay, frequency of 1 is 1, frequency of 2 is 2, and the frequency of 3 is also 1, frequency of 5 is 2, similarly frequency of 7 is 2 and frequency of 8 is 1. Okay, the number of time a particular observation occur or repeat itself in the given data is known as its frequency. Okay, I hope it's clear to you. Now we have to draw the frequency distribution table. Okay, this is again a very important part of this exercise, which is frequency distribution table. So we will be given some data and out of that data we need to draw a table, and that table will be called the frequency distribution table. Okay, so let's take an example that the 10 students of a class are asked about their favorite color. Okay, so 10 students of a class are asked about their favorite colors. So out of those 10 students, let's say 3 students says their favorite color is pink. Okay, and the 2 students said their favorite color is blue. One student said his or her favorite color is black. Okay, 2 students said their favorite color is orange, and the remaining 2 said their favorite color is yellow. Okay, so now we have data. There are 3 students who like pink, there are 2 students who like blue, there are 1 student like black, another 2 students like orange, and last 2 also like yellow. So based out of this data or based on this data, we will have to draw a frequency distribution table. So let's understand how we'll draw the frequency distribution table. So first thing is to draw or make a table using your pencil and scale. Okay, that will be like this. Okay, that's our table. This is a box first, then we'll mark certain. We'll make 3 columns in this, 1 2 and 3. Okay, we'll draw a line here in which we'll write our headings. Okay, the first, in the first column we'll write first heading, which is the color. Second, we have telemark, and then next we have frequency. Okay, frequency means number of time observations repeated. So we'll write the favorite colors. First we have pink, second is blue, third is black, fourth is orange, and the last one is yellow. Okay, so the number of students who like pink color is 3, so we'll mark the 3 lines here, 1 2 3, and this is called telemark, and we'll write its frequency, that is number of time pink repeated is 3, that means 3 students like pink. Okay, then we have color blue. There are 2 students who like blue, so we'll mark the 2 lines here, 1 and 2, we'll write its frequency, which is 2 here. Similarly for black, there is 1 student who like black, so we'll write 1 line here and write its frequency, which is 1. And for orange, there are 2 students who like orange, so we'll write mark 2 lines here and we'll write its frequency, which is 2. Similarly for yellow, there are 2 students who like yellow, so we'll draw 2 lines here and we'll write its frequency, which is 2. So this is the frequency distribution table. Frequency means the number of time a particular data is repeated. Okay, so in this example we asked 10 students about their favorite color, they named their favorite color. Out of this data we have made this frequency distribution table, and these lines are called telemark. Okay, so the one thing that you have to understand here is, if the number of observation of data is more than 5, let's say the number of students who like yellow was 8. Okay, if the number of students who like yellow was 8, so it will draw the 8 like this, as we have for yellow 2 already drawn 2, so it will be third, fourth, and after fourth we'll mark the telemark like this. Fifth will be the line which will be cut the previous 4. Okay, so this is a set of 5 telemark. Okay, as it is 8, so we'll start again 1 2 and 3, so that in that case the number will be 8. Okay, so what I mean to tell you here is, whenever you count the telemark, you will write it like this: 1 2 3 4, and the fifth one will be the line which will cut the previous 4. Then we'll have again 1 2 3 4, and the next one will again the cut previous 4. Okay, then we have 1 2. So how many observation here are? This is 5 5 and 2. 5 plus 5 is 10, and plus 2 is 12. So the number of observation now here become 12. Okay, that's how we draw the frequency distribution table. Okay, now moving ahead, we have grouping of data. Okay, we'll understand this with the help of example. We have here the marks obtained by 62 students in a mathematics test out of 50 is given below. So there are 60 students in a class who gave the mathematics test, and the maximum mark for the test is 50. Okay, so the marks obtained by all the 60 students is given below, which is 21 20 30 22 33 5 37 12, and so on till last 2 are 22 and 17. Okay, out of this data we have to draw make a frequency distribution table. So what we observe here is, in the previous example, that we firstly observe we asked the favorite color only 10 student. Okay, so it was very easy to make a frequency distribution table like this. Okay, because we have only 5 type of different data, so we can easily represent this in the frequency distribution table. But in this case, as the number of students is 60, that means that the size of data is very large. So what we're gonna do is, we'll divide this data in the groups. Okay, the groups can be like this, which are written here. The first group that we have made here is 0 to 10. So the number of students who got the marks from between 0 to 10. Then we have the number of students who got marks between 10 to 20, then 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 50, and 50 to 60. Why we stopped at the 60? Because the number of total student here is 60, so we'll stop by at the 60. If it is more than 60, then we will go on. Okay, now after making this group, what we're gonna do is, now we'll count the number of students who got the mark between 0 to 10. So in this observation you will see that there is one student who got 5 marks, which is between 0 to 10, and there is one student who got 7 mark, okay, which is also again between 0 to 10. So we'll mark two tally marks, 1 and 2, and we'll write its frequency, which is 2 here. Okay, next we have the student between 10 to 20. 10 to 20 means we have here 10, then again a number 12, which is, so 2 observation, 3 observations, 4, 5, we have 6, 7, 8, and then we have 9 and 10. Okay, so we'll write again tally marks here, like I told. We'll write 1, 2, 3, 4, and the fifth will be the cutting the previous 4, then 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, so we'll write the number 10 here, and so on for the other groups. Okay, between 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 50, and 50 to 60. So in this example, what you have to do is you have to observe all the data, and then you will mark the tally marks and write its frequency. Okay, so this type of table representation is called grouped frequency distribution table. So grouped, and it was already a frequency distribution table, but this time it is grouped frequency distribution table. Okay, so you have to observe the data closely. We use this for the large data. Okay, for the large size of data we'll use the group frequency distribution table. If the size of data is very small, like here's we observe only 10 students and number of type of observation is only 5, so we can represent this by the frequency distribution table. If the size of data is very large, in that case we'll use grouped frequency distribution table. Okay, so the data represented in this manner is said to be grouped, and the distribution obtained is called grouped frequency distribution. Okay, data represented in this form is called grouped, and the distribution obtained is called grouped frequency distribution. Okay, next we have class interval. Okay, class interval means it represents the range in which the data are grouped. Okay, the range in which the data is grouped, like in this example we have grouped the data in the interval of 10, that is 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 50, and 50 to 60. So this is called class interval. So here the class intervals are 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30. Okay, we can also represent this data in the form, like we can club these two part, like we can represent this as from 0 to 20, that in that case its frequency will be 12, and this will be 20 to 40. In that case the frequency of these two will be also be 40, and these two will be 40 to 60, then the frequency will be 8. Okay, again the sum will be 60. Okay, so this group has a class interval of 10, and this group has class interval of 20. Okay, so the class interval is, it represents the range in which the data are grouped. In this case that range is 10, while here that range is 20. Okay, next we have lower limit. The lower limit means the lowest number occurring means showing. Okay, the lowest number occurring in a particular class interval is called its lower limit. Like in the class interval from 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, the lowest number here is 0, 10 and 20. So their lower limit is 0, 10 and 20. Similarly, the upper limit is the highest number occurring in a particular class interval is called its upper limit. Again, from these interval from 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30. The highest number here is 10, 20 and 30. So these are called the upper limits. Okay, next we have width or the class size. Width and the class size simply means the difference between the upper limit and the lower limit is called the class width or the class size. Okay, that is, if we have an interval 0 to 10, its class width will be upper limit, which is 10, minus lower limit, which is 0. So 10 minus 0 is 10. So class width here is 10. Similarly, in this one, let's say 20 to 40. Here the upper limit is 40 and lower limit is 20. So 40 minus 20 is 20. So here the width or the class size is 20. Okay, that's how we can calculate the class size or the class width, which is upper limit minus lower limit. So class width or class size is given by upper limit minus lower limit. Okay, UP minus LL, upper limit minus lower limit. Okay, so now we have the next type of graphical representation, which is histogram. This histogram is strictly based on this group frequency distribution table. If we represent any data with in the form of a group frequency distribution table, only then we can represent this with the help of histogram. So histogram means if a bar graph is plotted for group frequency distribution, it is also bar graph, but this time the bar graph is plotted for grouped frequency distribution type of data or data with continuous class interval. This is very important thing, the data with continuous class interval. Continuous means the data here is ending at 10, then it's starting from 10. The class interval ending here is 20, then starting from 20, then it's ending at 30, starting from 30. So this type of interval are called continuous intervals. So because the number, these two numbers are same, the upper limit of an interval will be the lower limit in the next interval. Similarly, the upper limit here 50 will be the lower limit in the next interval. So this type of interval are called continuous class interval. Okay, so if a data is represented in the form of group frequency distribution, only then you can represent this in the form of histogram. That means for that the class interval has to be continuous. This is very important point. Okay, so because when we are to represent data with the histogram, the only difference between the bar graph and the histogram here is you will see that there is no gap between the bar. Okay, one we have this here, next one exactly starting from this point. Okay, then next starting ending at 20, the next one is starting from 20 to 30. Okay, so for the histogram the interval has to be continuous interval. Okay, so this is a graphical histogramic representation of this data, like from 0 to 2, so 0 to 10 the frequency is 2, from 0 to 10 the frequency is 2, next from 10 to 20 the frequency is between this 10 to 20 is it's 10, then from 20 to 30 is 21, so between this interval it's 21 and so on. Okay, so this type of graphical representation is called histogram. Okay, so few things that you need to keep in mind while drawing the histogram, that if we represent the age of 25 teacher of a school, okay, so you can find that the age of a teacher can vary from above 20 to above 50 or till 60. Okay, so there will be no teacher who will be less than 20. Okay, generally in doing the qualification and getting a job of teacher, you generally aged above 20. Okay, so in this case we are taking this interval, this continuous interval starting from 20. So you will observe that there is this zigzag line. This zigzag line or the jagged line means the data between 0 to 20 is not useful, so we have skipped that part. Okay, so this zigzag line or this jagged line means has been used along the horizontal line to indicate that we are not showing the number between 0 to 20. Okay, so the number between 0 to 20 is not important in this case, so we have eliminated that portion, but we'll draw a line like this. Okay, then we'll continue. This represents that this part of data is skipped. Okay, or we are not showing that part. Okay, so this is the histogrammic representation of the data. So again, the few thing that you need to keep in mind, that bar of equal width with no gap. Again, the width of each bar is equal, but there is no gap between the bar. Okay, next is the height of bar gives the number of data item in a particular group, and it is the frequency. So that we have this interval, and the height is the frequency in this interval. Like we have this interval and its frequency, interval and its frequency. So this will represent, interval will be here, and this will be the frequency. Okay, so that's how we represent the histogram for a given data. So I hope you understood all the concepts. Okay, so that's all for today's class. Thanks for joining here. Thank you.